They are comparing it to Firefest. The abomination that happened at Bristol Motor Speedway over the weekend. It took 2 days to get this game in because, well, nobody decided to read the weather report before the game actually started. It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. You Tolos, welcome into the show. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, awesome. 25 of you already are, and the show has literally just started. It's not even a minute old, and you're in the stream watching. Cole, I don't know how much time you spent watching the end of the watchability of Atlanta Braves baseball over the course of this 2025 season. Braves won 4-2, by the way, over the Reds. But from my understanding, literally nothing else went right other than being able to finish the game on Sunday.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story is, Diesel, the Braves are so bad that when you involve them in a game in 2025, and that game just so happens to be the Speedway Classic, where you bring people from all across the country to Bristol, Tennessee, and try to do something that's never been done before in the history of the game. Not only with it being played inside of a racetrack, but the first Major League Baseball game in the state of Tennessee. The moral of the story is, Diesel, and yes, I did watch. I attempted to watch Saturday night late when that game finally got going around like 10 o'clock. But the moral of the story is, when you involve this cursed franchise for whatever reason, things are going to go haywire. And haywire they went. I had a few friends of mine that went to the game, and they said it was cool for about 75 seconds. But outside of that 75 seconds, when they did the starting lineups and they had the flyover, right? Other than that, it was, I mean, I don't know if you want to call it an epic failure, but it wasn't the other side of the coin, I can tell you that.
So clearly the entire goal here, well, two goals. Number one, play a Major League Baseball game in the state of Tennessee. And the other goal was to break the previous record of 85,000 fans at a game set by the Indians and Yankees in like 1965 in a stadium that was just massive. Built as a football stadium originally. They turned it into the home of the Cleveland Indians, and you set a record. They still, Cole, reported the attendance as 91,000 fans. And I'm putting it up on the stream right now. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, hit up the stream at The Fan Upstate. Whatever account you like, jump in, or whatever platform you like, jump in and watch the stream. They still reported actual attendance as 91,000 fans. Look at that picture.
So what day is that?
Well, it's sunny, so I would assume it was Sunday.
Sunday when it actually played.
And, of course, a lot of people can't dedicate a second day. They drove up to Bristol. They're probably going to go to the game and then red-eye it back home to wherever it may be. But that's not 91,000 fans.
No.
Not even close.
I wonder if they reported it on Saturday. Does it say? I mean,
from what I'm reading is the reports on Sunday were still 91,000 fans.
See, if I had to imagine, and again, I don't know how everybody Diesel does their reporting of attendance, but I would imagine that a lot of people would report the amount of tickets sold, right?
Sure, yeah.
And then a lot of people, if you're really wanting to be honest, you report how many were in the seat when the event was supposed to originally happen.
Right.
So,
nobody uses turnstiles anymore, right?
Yeah.
They don't actually count the number of fans that walk through the gates.
And
they
I
count how many
doubt
tickets they sold. They don't even count how many they scan. It's how many they sold.
I highly doubt that they reported attendance on Sunday, because that's not that. And again, you can't see the whole picture, but that's not a lot of fans. You can't see what's behind it and to the sides. But there might have been 91,000 on Saturday,
right?
Because the picture I saw on Saturday was pretty epic. It looked cool. I guess like if that's the win here, you can say, well, it looked cool. You know, got some cool pictures, some cool drone shots.
I'm not so obtuse as to realize that you can't control the weather. Obviously, you can't control the weather. You schedule this game. You spend a year putting this event together. You can't control the weather. That's not really what I'm criticizing. It's everything else, Cole. It's the stories that you're hearing of not having enough food, and JD put that on the stream.
There's people posting the only food that was left by the middle of the game were those crummy nachos that we always make fun of and really kind of nasty looking hot dogs. It's the fact that they were selling tickets behind home plate where all you could see was from right center over to the right field line.
Yeah.
Like they were selling tickets in places in that stadium where you couldn't actually see the game.
Yeah.
All of these things are what I'm talking about when I'm criticizing the Speedway Classic. This thing was put together for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. Play a game in the state of Tennessee possibly means they're gauging whether or not a major league franchise could be viable in the state of Tennessee, and just to break a record.
I don't know, Diesel, how many of our Tolos have been to Bristol Motor Speedway or not, but when you walk under the stands, right, at Bristol, when you go under the stands talking about the food situation, the concession area, I wouldn't even compare it to like a high school game. Like the concession area is not great. There are, and look, this is just the area that I walked in back in April when I went up there for the race. The concession areas are very small. Like there are some concessions booth that are the size of this studio that you and I are in right now.
Right.
I didn't, when I was there back in April for the race, I didn't see any food that popped. So here's where I'm going. I don't know if they brought in any different vendors for this baseball game than what happens at a typical race in Bristol. I'll tell you this, they should have, right? There should be some, whether it's food trucks or different unique menu items to make this experience better than it was, because I saw some of the pictures that you're talking about, the nachos, the yellow nachos out of the bag, a hot dog weenie just laying on the, that was it. I mean, there was no bun. Like, I guess they ran out of bread, ran out of condiments, just a big wiener laying right there on your plate, right? I mean, it looked really.
Glad you finished that sentence.
Yeah, just laying on your plate. And I don't know. Diesel, I don't want to say it felt like it was kind of just thrown together because they had plenty of time. But I just don't know that, like, yeah, you're right. You can't control weather. I don't know that I'm overjoyed about this entire event, thinking in my head that it's got to happen again. It's got to happen.
It seems like they spent more time and effort on promoting how cool the event would be, and I give it a ton of credit. The largest game in the history of Major League Baseball is a cool concept. They spent more time thinking about that than they did, how can we actually make this an enjoyable experience for the fans who come here and buy tickets? Because, like you said, you buy tickets to this thing, this abomination, and you say, well, I'm never coming back. I'm never doing this again. This sucked.
Yeah, I don't know. I think ultimately it's a cool idea. When I look at the pictures that you have on the stream, like, it looks really, really cool. Now, MD75 has a good point on the YouTube stream. He says, I agree with you on the attendance, but also look at it this way. Bristol seats 150,000. So to his point, when I was there for the race, I thought to myself, man, there's nobody here. And there wasn't a great crowd for Bristol, don't get me wrong, back in April, but there were still as many as any other week. It just looks like, because that Coliseum, like when you walk out, like I told you last week, when you walk out in the infield, that Coliseum's massive. So when you look at 150,000 seats, and what would you say the report of the attendance was? 91,000. Yeah, I mean, 91 of 150 still isn't even close to full.
That's 2/3.
Yeah.
If you're telling me you got a stadium that's 2/3 full, and you can't have enough food, beverage, condiments, all those things for 2/3 of your max venue attendance, that's a huge problem.
Yes, crazy.
Yeah.
But Bristol's kind of old, too. Like, when you go there, that's kind of what it's known for. It's got this old mystique feel to it. Like, when you go to the racetrack and you walk up those big, wonderful hills where you about die and you finally get to the top, Diesel, you walk in, and I'll be honest with you, when you walk in, like, the concourse area, you know how the Braves game, or if you're at a nice stadium, like let's say a NFL stadium, you walk in the concourse, you're blown away.
Yeah.
You walk in Bristol under the concourse, and it's like steel beams.
I'm sorry, that's not charming to
it's
me.
not.
I heard people 2 years ago when they held the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro talking about how much of a dump North Wilkesboro still is. If you're telling me that Bristol Motor Speedway is a dump, that also plays into, not to make this conversation about that, but the reason why NASCAR sometimes is struggling, because their stadiums are dumps.
Well, I don't think that the stadium being a dump correlates with NASCAR attendance, because a lot of those people could care less. Let's be honest.
But they should.
But
Like,
they don't,
what are we doing with every stadium? We're trying to modernize NFL stadiums. We're trying to modernize Major League Baseball and NBA arenas to make them nicer, to make the fan experience better. And why would I drive all the way up to Bristol? What's that from here? Like a 2.5 hour drive? Why would I drive up 2.5 hours to dodge rusty steel girders and eat crappy nachos?
Yeah, I think it's a test run, right? So if they do it again, right, I think there are a lot of things they can learn from. Now, I will say, going back to the conversation we had last week, if the Braves were really good and the Braves at the very beginning of August were in playoff contention, I would spend money. I would spend money to go watch it because it's cool. However, I have been to Bristol, Diesel, so I know what to expect, right? I'm not a fan that's going up there thinking, oh, this is going to be the nicest thing. So maybe if you were a fan, you went up there thinking this is going to be the nicest thing since sliced bread, maybe you had the wrong mindset and intentions going up because Bristol's it's just a big coliseum. It's a bunch of steel. It's loud, and it's kind of known for that, right?
Well, I look at all these things kind of mesh together. Having bad concessions is not the reason why the stadium's half full or the racetrack is half full. But it may be a reason why a couple thousand people say I'm never coming back. So if you got crummy bathrooms, like disgusting, nasty bathrooms, and you got terrible food service, and you got awful parking, you got to walk a mile to get there.
And the police are terrible.
And it's really expensive, and it's hard to get to. That's how you end up with stadiums like Bristol that are half full.
You got to add the police in there. I got a speeding ticket up there back in April.
Well, were you speeding?
Suck. Yeah, speeding.
Oh, well, that's your fault.
No, that's
you know what? You're like my wife. My wife's still mad. Yeah. She's not listening right now. She's at work right now. She's still mad that she got a ticket on 385 going into downtown Greenville because everybody else was speeding. She's just the one that got pulled over for it. And I was like, yeah, but were you speeding? She goes, yeah, I mean, I was doing like 75 in a 50 or 55 zone. I'm like, so what are you mad at?
You're mad that you got
yourself.
Caught. That's what we're mad at.
Yeah, she's mad at the cop. She's not mad at herself.
Well, I'm mad at both.
I
don't like the cop either. He could have let me off. On the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line, shout out to Pack Fan Shuff. Appreciate you listening. He said, great job last week on the high school coverage. Enjoyed those shows. Appreciate you, Pack Fan Shuff. Glad you enjoyed it. MD75, JD Wyatt, and a few others, 54 total watching the stream on YouTube. Those pictures that you put up there, like I think ultimately, I don't know what their end goal was. I think again, it looks cool. It looks neat. And I think on what Saturday night, if the weather would have cooperated, I don't know if our conversation would be much different. They probably would have still ran out of nachos, or as JD says, chips. You can't call them nachos. They probably would have still ran out, even more so because more people were there. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I do enjoy Braves games because the new stadium's nice. It's fun. There's a lot to do. Same thing with the Hub City Spartan Burgers. Like, right, Diesel like going to the new stuff because it's new. So I would like to, if we could ever get somebody on the show that could explain to us what their end goal was with this. Well, and I know you talked about the 2 records. They did that. Congrats.
Yeah. Buckeye Mike says they also used to let high school organizations run the concessions to make money for their organizations. I don't know if they did that this time, Buckeye Mike. But when you're talking about a sport that's sometimes struggling for attendance, you can't leave it up to, we'll let the local Kiwanis Club come out here and sling some bags of potato chips. You have to take every single element of that seriously and provide a good experience in every single way that you possibly can. That's how you cost yourself fans. But he goes on, he says they let the high school organizations run the concessions. I still think it's the best track. They need more short tracks. It's usually easy in and out of the track also. He also says, I used to go to the spring and fall races when I used to live in the Tri-Cities. The food used to be good 20 years ago, and they had a lot of concessions.
I didn't look at the concessions in April when I went. I went straight in, went under the tunnel, went to the infield, and went up to the press box for a little bit, Diesel, when I was at the race. But I'm just thinking in my head that the food in the press box wasn't like I wasn't blown away by it. It did feel like, even for a race, I'll say this, even for a race in Bristol, except for the media center, they did the media center fantastic. Parts of Bristol, like as a media member covering the race, it kind of felt like not that it was thrown together, but it just doesn't feel big.
So they're taking better care of the media room than the fans. That's a problem.
I don't know.
That's a problem.
I didn't see like I said, I didn't see the concessions when I went. I went straight through.
But, I mean, for what it's worth, the Braves did win that game, 4-2. Scored 3 in the second, 1 in the seventh inning. The Reds scored 1 in the first, 1 in the second inning. So ultimately a pretty boring game, man. Scoring up front and then a lot of defense. Hurston Waldrop got the win, his first win of the season. It was also his first appearance of the season, but hey, he's 1 for 1. He pitched 5.2 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 run, and tallied 4 strikeouts. The Braves so far back that it's not even worth tallying how far back they are.
How about the biggest story, though, that we hadn't mentioned yet is the local story, Eli White. In his first game and the first game in Tennessee, the first person to ever go yard in the state of Tennessee is Greenville's Eli White.
How about it?
Big shout out to him. Big congratulations to him. As who would have thought that here we are in August in 2025, the biggest story we'd be talking about for the Atlanta Braves is hometown Eli White. Credit to him, but it just shows how bad the Braves are. RJ brings up something interesting on the text line, the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. He says, I'm curious what Bristol's policy on food and drink is. Last time I was there for a NASCAR race, they allowed you to bring inside or outside food and drink. So, RJ, to your point, for NASCAR, one of the reasons people love going to a NASCAR race is you can bring your own food and beverage. That includes alcohol. You, as a fan, you can bring any alcohol in as long as it is in your sizable cooler that they tell you it has to be in. You can't come in with like a 8-foot Yeti.
They do measure those things. Trust me. There's a little box they try to drop your cooler down into, and if it doesn't fit in that box, you cannot bring it in. At least that's how it was at Charlotte last time I was there.
That's interesting, Diesel, though, from RJ, because with it being a Major League Baseball sanctioned event, I don't know if they allow. I'll text a buddy of mine who went. If they allowed you to bring alcohol or food in, I doubt it. Well, it's not a race. That's
even less of an excuse to have terrible food and beverage
that's what I'm saying. If you brought it in.
if you've got 100,000, if it holds 150. But it's only 2/3 full, and I'm going to be generous here. This is for a NASCAR race, by the way. So now you got 100,000 people in there, but half of those people are going to bring their own food and bev. So you only really need to cater to 50,000 people, and you still can't do it. That's terrible.
I would bet. I don't know this for a fact, but I would bet that they did not allow you to bring outside food.
Probably
and drink
not.
Since it's baseball, since it's MLB.
Yes. MLB event, not a NASCAR.
That's kind
event.
of a NASCAR thing. It's kind of like that's what kind of people love that about NASCAR. That's a good question though, RJ. If you can find out, let us know. I just, they don't want to pass up making money, and they did. They made a lot of it. I'm sure they just, ran out a little too quick.
I just don't think they should ever try this again.
Ever?
Just one and done. Just one and done. Like, look, if you want to put a Major League Baseball franchise in Nashville, and I mean Nashville's blowing up, right? They've got the NFL, they've got the NHL. There's a good chance that they, bring NBA in the future, possibly. But Major League Baseball is at 30 teams. They got room for 2 more. If you want to match all the other major leagues that have 32 teams, you got room for 1 more. So if this is them testing the waters for a Nashville team, I get it's in Bristol on the eastern side of state. Nashville's centrally located. Then maybe they've done their job, and it's not really necessary to do it again.
So I don't have a problem, Diesel, to your point, if they want to try it again. Everybody, in my mind, there's kinks to work out with everything. So if a second time, if it's better, great. Second time around, though, if it's not better, then I say let's call it off. Maybe, I don't know, we talked about this last week or a couple of weeks ago with maybe figuring out how to do a tournament style or figure out better team. I know you can't predict how a team's going to do, but
sure.
Having 2 good teams there would have helped as well. Stephen Webb on the Facebook stream did answer our question, though. He said, I know someone who went. They did not allow outside food and beverages. So that makes sense as to why, if you would have told me they allowed outside food and beverage and they still ran out, it'd be harder to believe. But they didn't allow anything outside. It had to be all purchased inside from Stephen Webb.
If they do try it again, I would say there's probably a pretty good chance they do it at Bristol again and try not to go to, like, Kentucky, because I don't know where exactly is Kentucky Motor Speedway.
I can't think of the city.
Is it in the western side? If it's in the western side of the state, you still have to drive through Kentucky to get to Tennessee if you're a Reds fan.
No, I don't have a problem.
And so
with
it would
location.
make sense. I don't know if maybe Kentucky would work a little bit better. Maybe logistically it doesn't work just because of the shape of the infield.
Yeah. Again, I think the idea is cool. I think we all looked at it and thought, man, this is really neat that they're trying this. But the fact that you could not, Diesel, could not look back at this and think, man, what a huge success. I do think that hurts a little bit. So,
and by the way, it is in Sparta, Kentucky.
Sparta.
And Sparta is just south of Cincinnati. So it would be really easy for Reds fans, kind of halfway between Cincinnati and Louisville.
Yeah, Buckeye Mike also brings up the Tennessee-Virginia Tech game that was there. What was that, a couple of years ago now? So really interesting stuff, though. We'll see if they try it again. I would bet if they made money, I bet they'd try it again. We'll see. Diesel, earlier today, the coaches poll, top 25 came out. What do the coaches think of where your team is in this top 25? You react next. Well, the coaches, we now know what they think. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. So good to be with you on this nasty Monday. And I don't know if you've seen the forecast, but it looks like it's going to be rainy and cloudy every day this week. So we'll see. Maybe we get y'all that complained about that heat. Thanks. Oh, it's too hot. Hey, I can't breathe in this heat. Now look outside. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you.
I mean, it is nice. I'm not going to lie.
No,
the 70 degrees is
I'd rather
good.
have the heat than this. I'd rather have the 105 than this.
Well,
it's
put
just
up an umbrella, nerd. Go outside and enjoy the cool weather.
It's so dreary. Ugh, I want sunshine.
Take a flashlight. It's fine.
It's just, I want the sun, baby. I want the sun. All right, Diesel, we look at what the coaches have to think. It's that time of year where the college football preseason coaches poll has been released. If you have not seen it yet, you can see the full top 25. I just retweeted it on X. Do you say I just X'd it? Since tweets no longer a thing?
I think their terminology is now post.
Oh, okay, I reposted
You post on X. See, that was the genius of Twitter. You tweet on Twitter.
You post on Facebook. Yeah.
Like, if they were smart, they would say, I X'd it.
So now you can't say, okay, see, I still said retweet, but I think you're right. It's repost. I'm just not up to date on the most recent terminology. So I reposted it at the Cole Bryson, if you want to see it there, right under the live video where you can watch the show with 63 others. There's the Twitter poll. I mean, guys, check the X poll. The X, not Twitter, X. It's going to take a long time. But anyways,
stick with
Diesel,
tweet, man. It's Elon's going to sell it before long.
We're trying to
we'll get back to Twitter before
politically correct, right? What do the coaches have to think, Diesel? Are you shocked that the Texas Longhorns are numero uno, number one in the coaches poll?
Not at all, because Texas, they do have a tremendous amount of talent, even though I think there's a lot of hype around Arch. They do have a ton of talent.
They have a lot of talent.
When you consider that a lot of these teams have a lot of big fat question marks. Question mark at quarterback for Texas. Question mark at quarterback for Ohio State. Question mark basically everywhere else, especially at the head coach for Penn State. Question mark for quarterback at Georgia. Question mark at Notre Dame. I think Clemson, there's the most known about that team, but maybe you believe, and the post and the people who put this poll together, the coaches, believe that Clemson's talent is not on par with Texas's talent. If they had their talent everywhere else across the field, Clemson would probably be a unanimous number one.
You know, it's interesting. Clemson in the coaches poll, if you have not seen it yet, Clemson is 6. So you ask about talent. And yes, Texas is uber talented. We all know they have 5 stars littered in every position, right? Even at kicker, probably. Even at water boy, probably. However,
how do you become a 5-star kicker?
You kick the ball really far. Diesel, we asked the question, though, what separates 1 and 6? Because the coaches out there believe that Texas is the number 1 team in the country. And if you haven't seen the poll yet, it goes Texas 1, Ohio State 2. There you go, Buckeye Mike and Tolo Steve and everybody else. Penn State 3, Georgia 4, Notre Dame 5, Clemson 6, and rounding out the top 10, Oregon 7, Bama at 8, LSU at 9, Miami at 10. Diesel, I think this list is trash. And I don't mean just like trash you seen on the side of the road. I think this list is absolute hot garbage from the coaches poll. And look, here I am, Cole Bryson saying, oh, he knows more than the coaches. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you, Penn State's not better than Clemson in 2025.
Well, I
Notre Dame 5? Are you kidding me?
I beg the question: how the hell do the coaches know if they say they're all so focused on their own teams? I mean, in theory, they don't know anything about anybody else but themselves. Maybe you know a little bit about the teams in your conference, and that's fine. If you're James Franklin, you could say, "Well, I think I know a thing or two about Ohio State. I think I know a thing or two about maybe Oregon. Did Penn State play Oregon last year? I don't even know if they did." Maybe you could say I know something about Michigan or Michigan State or Indiana, but how the hell does James Franklin know the first thing about Texas?
I tell you what, man, it begs the question, who's wrong, the media or the coaches? Because you look at the media polls compared to this poll, and by the way, Tolos, want to hear from you at 844-326-3663. Phone lines are open. The Hub City Spartanburgers text line also open as well. Diesel, when you and I have looked at every preseason prediction from media, from here to there and everywhere, this is not like, here's my problem. You're telling me that Alabama is the number 8 team in the country. There's no way. There's no way I buy it. They should be a lot higher in my mind. You're telling me that Notre Dame today is better than Bama and LSU? Okay, let's go put Bama against Notre Dame in week 0, and then week 1 put Notre Dame against LSU, and let's see what Notre Dame's record is after 2 weeks. I promise you, it's not 2-0. This list is not trash. It's hot garbage. I have a huge problem with it.
How is it that Clemson receives 2 first-place votes, Notre Dame receives no first-place votes, yet Clemson is ranked lower than Notre Dame? Why is Notre Dame 5 and Clemson is 6 when Notre Dame didn't receive any first-place votes at all?
I don't get it. I really don't. I really don't get it. I understand the coach's philosophy. I understand why coaches vote for certain teams. And Texas being number 1, no problem. No problem with that, right? You talked about it. They are loaded. They're stacked. But Penn State at 3, I have a question about. I don't mind Georgia at 4. I question Notre Dame at 5. I question Clemson at 6. I think Clemson ought to be a spot or 2 higher. Bama and LSU, I told you there. And boy, let's look at the other in-state team, Diesel, according to the coaches poll. The South Carolina Gamecocks, number 13, which is really good, really high.
Yeah.
Just shows what Shane Beamer's done for this program. If you're voted 13th in the country according to the coaches.
13th in the country with a significantly depleted defense. Like, I know Dylan Stewart's great, and I know he's probably going to be great again this year off the edge. But you got a bunch of dudes who still haven't even had their names stitched on their jerseys yet out there playing in the secondary. And that's suddenly a top 15 team?
It's
Make it
interesting.
make sense.
I don't hate South Carolina at 13. I would have probably predicted them to be more around 15 or 16. So here's how this works, Diesel. The U.S. LBM Coaches Poll is conducted weekly throughout the regular season using a panel of head coaches at the football bowl subdivision schools. The panel is chosen by random draw, conference by conference, plus independents from a pool of coaches who have indicated to the American Football Coaches Association their willingness to participate. Each coach submits a top 25 with a first place vote worth 25 points, second place 24, and so on down to the 1 point for 25th. And I don't know. Here's what we don't know. When we say coaches poll, well, there's a lot of coaches out there, right? What coaches voted this? The top coaches, the most well-respected coaches in the game, but we don't know.
Could you really see Nick Saban sitting down to fill out this ballot?
And that's what you don't know,
if
right?
If he was doing it, it would take Nick Saban like 4 hours to put this thing together because he would actually take it seriously.
It begs the question as to all these preseason polls, and I know a lot of fans out there. I know a lot of people have their issue with preseason polls, and rightfully so. We just talked about last week, Diesel, how the SEC voters have not been right more times than not, right? They've actually been wrong more times than not when it comes to order of finish in the SEC, preseason, all that kind of stuff. I just look at this poll and think, man, there's something to be said about Penn State and Notre Dame having the brand that they do. And you say, well, Cole, brand doesn't matter. I'm not saying Notre Dame and Penn State aren't going to be good this year, but you're telling me that their brand didn't help them be. And look, I like Drew Aller. But you're telling me Drew Aller's better than Kate Klubnik?
How many of these coaches are putting together their top 25 based on an agenda to make their wins look better? Look, the coaches poll is essentially meaningless throughout the entire season, right? We talk about it in the preseason because it's kind of all there is to talk about right now. But we all know the AP poll is more important up until the time the college football playoff poll takes over. But everybody's got a poll. CBS got a poll. ESPN's got a poll. Cole's got a poll. Wait, that sounds weird
Cole
when I say it like that. But like everybody's got a poll, and the coaches poll is at best the third most important poll that's posted, especially towards the end of the season once the CFP poll takes over.
Sure.
So do we know that Ryan Day sat down to do this thing? Do we think that maybe Tony Petitti has an agenda that says, hey, when they ask who wants to do this, James, Ryan, I want all of you to stick your hands up. You need to do this because it's just an opportunity for us and for you to gas up our conference. I want you to go out there and say that Illinois is going to be pretty good this year. Why not do that? Illinois sitting at 12.
Yeah, I wonder how much of it has to do with quarterback. And every coach that votes in this poll, Diesel, they don't have the same agenda. I get that, but you look at the quarterbacks. You would think we've got Arch Manning, Texas won, Ohio State. Well, you can't say it's because of their quarterback because they're breaking in a new quarterback. Penn State, you could say that. You could make that argument with Drew Aller.
Well, if we were talking quarterbacks only, then it should be Penn State 1, Clemson 2.
I think there's a lot to be said, Diesel, about who you have at quarterback. And to me, the biggest, to use Dewey's phrase of travesty, I don't know how Bama and LSU are 8 and 9 because, look, you can talk about Clemson at 6 or South Carolina at 13. I don't have a huge problem with either one of those, maybe a little bit of a problem, but I have a huge problem with Bama at 8 and LSU at 9. LSU and Bama, maybe LSU by themselves, are one of the top 2, top 3 talented teams in the country. Their schedule's brutal, don't get me wrong. Alabama's going to be absolutely loaded in the fall. Whether they put it together and get back to the top of the mountain, Diesel, we don't know. But go look at what they've done in the recruit. Look, they're stacked. And to tell me today on the 4th of August that Bama's the 8th best team, okay, well, who are they behind? Oregon, Notre Dame, ha, Penn State, ha, Ohio State. Right now today, if LSU at 9, let's play a fun game real quick, head-to-head. Diesel, LSU versus everybody else in the field. Who are you picking today? LSU, Bama. You pick who?
I'm picking LSU.
Me too. LSU, Oregon.
Again, we're going neutral site here, right?
Neutral site, that's fine.
LSU.
Okay, me too. LSU, Clemson, neutral site.
Neutral site, I'm saying LSU.
Okay. Notre Dame.
LSU.
Georgia.
Probably Georgia.
Okay. Penn State.
LSU.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
See, I'd go LSU there. If they played today.
Yeah.
New quarterback, Ohio State, LSU's got a vet. Texas. Okay, so you're telling me you pick, 3, and I'm with you on most of those. Explain to me, coaches, all these brilliant coaches making millions of dollars, how LSU's the 9th best team in the country.
Right.
Carson Beck, Miami, 10.
Remember when we were in Charlotte sitting down with Rich Clark, what was his title? CEO, president of the college football playoff?
You got to put that executive. Something like
that.
Something
I have to
official.
go back and find it. We asked him about releasing the criteria, releasing the formulation and the algorithm for how you put this thing together, and he goes, "We can't release it because there isn't one. There's no formula for this." Lane Kiffin and Shane Beamer too out there beating their chests last year. Show us the formula. Show us the formula. He's like, we can't show you the formula because there is no formula.
It's fluid.
It's year to year. Yes, it changes. The criteria changes. You can say we have a pretty good idea that this is what's going to matter, but we can't tell you year in and year out because these teams are not the same year in and year out. You got some teams that are breaking in a super talented, super hyped guy with a great last name versus a guy that we know who has been at his institution and has gotten better, improved year over year for 4 straight years. You just don't know how those two are going to compare to one another.
So that's the coaches poll. There it is. There you have it. Again, I retweeted it at the Cole Bryson. I reposted it, rather, at the Cole Bryson on X. Diesel, before we run to a break, I do want to shout out one of our Tolos. And he's in the Upset Picks Challenge. He's always turning it on and leaving it on. Kevin Tizer. Kevin's a Tolo. He is on the construction crew. And I'm sorry, I don't know his official title. Probably a lot smarter than that, a lot better of a title than that. But he's working with the new Burns Stadium. And he just sent me a video, and because he sent it to me, I'm going to play it on the stream for those
Executive. You got to put executive in
Executive, that's right.
Executive construction crew manager.
I don't know exactly. He does something. He's awesome. He's a Tolo, so that's number one. For the first time, just moments ago, that's what we do on the Fan Upstate. We capture moments happening. For the first time, the Burns Rebels, who we carry right here on the Fan Upstate, got to walk on, jog on, run onto their new field and practice onto their new field for the very first time. And here's the video from Kevin. I'm going to show it to you. Can I turn the volume up? Let's see. I'm going to try. So the video shot. Is that portrait mode? Is that portrait, not landscape?
Portrait, come on. What are we doing?
And there they are. First time the Rebels are on their new turf. It's cloudy, it's raining, but you can see a lot of excitement. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to Kevin for that. This is the first time I'm watching it too. I saved it, sent it straight to the stream. So when are they going to let you out? That's a good question. I have not been out there yet. I have not been out there yet. I haven't seen it yet. Okay. So shout out Kevin. I'm sure he's listening right now. Shout out to you, man. You're awesome. He also has been sending me pictures of the press box and stuff, coming along pretty good too. And I had a lot of other people over the weekend, by the way, talk about the coaches show, the kickoff show that we did, and a lot of the UTOLOs didn't text it in, but I did hear from you this weekend, and I apologize for not getting back to you. A lot of nice comments, especially from somebody earlier. Who was it earlier? Pac Fan Shuff, appreciate you. Football's here, man. High school, college, pro, Diesel. We have preseason on Thursday night, NFL preseason.
Yep.
And by the way, 1 month from today, Cowboys, Eagles kicking off the season.
I'm not sure why you would even want to bring that up, Cole. Your Cowboys are going to get absolutely smoked.
No.
When we come back, Cole, an interesting, funny video coming out of the University of Tennessee's first practice sessions. And I wonder what the video editing crew did with this video. Is it pathetic, or is it protecting their quarterback? We'll talk about it next. are just weeks away from college football getting kicked off in earnest. Some teams are going to be playing here in, less than 3 weeks, Cole. Isn't that awesome? The 23rd is when we're going to have some games going. So that's less than 3 weeks from today. Most everybody else is going to have to wait 4 weeks to get started on the week of on the Saturday of the 30th. But everybody is out there trying to get their teams and their fans hyped up. They're posting videos on social media. And then something weird happened. The University of Tennessee posts video of a play from camp. Now, we don't really know the context of what was going on in this particular clip. What you see is a receiver and a DB running down the left sideline. The ball is underthrown and it gets picked off. Okay. Interceptions happen, right? These teams are still installing, or maybe it was just a bad throw.
Yeah.
But what's weird about it, and what's gotten the entire football-loving internet's attention, is that when the camera angle flips to where you can look back down the field towards the line of scrimmage, for some reason they blurred out the quarterback. They don't want you to know who threw the pick. And the question is, why even bother? Why even bother? If you don't want people to know that, for example, maybe your quarterback in Joey Aguilar can't throw the long ball, then why not just say, they were practicing underthrown drills, right? So that the DB could get the practice for that play, or that the receiver could get practice on what to do when a ball is underthrown. So we have no idea who threw the ball, and there's crazy speculation because it's the SEC, right? Everybody takes everything super serial. There's fans out there, there's Tennessee fans saying, "Oh no, it wasn't Joey Aguilar, it wasn't Jake Merklinger.
Yeah,
it was actually our tight end because he played quarterback in high school. It was our tight end out there throwing the ball." Like, they don't want you to know that quarterbacks are human and throw picks in practice just like they do in games.
Yeah, I think it's so. I just saw the video during the break for the first time. I think it's funny. I will say that. I do believe that we, for whatever reason, live in a little bit too soft of a society where I'm kind of with you. Like, it's a pick. It happens. Everybody throws picks. It's no big deal. However, Tennessee just did what? Tennessee just a few months ago, we all woke up on a Saturday morning and thought it was just going to be a beautiful Saturday in the spring, and all of a sudden, bam, breaking news, Tennessee's quarterback, billion-dollar, I say that with tongue-in-cheek, $1 million Nico is now out the door. So would any other program in the United States of America have blurred the quarterback out? Probably not. Tennessee, I think, is kind of petty. I also think it's kind of funny, but I also think it's kind of like what Jerry Jones always does. And guess what, Diesel? We're talking about it, right? It created a lot of, I'm sure you saw the stuff on Twitter about it. It created a lot of buzz, and now people all across the Southeast are talking about it on their Sports Drive afternoon radio shows.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in blurring that video. It's not a thing until you blur the video. Now it's all of a sudden, oh my God, who was it? Who was it? Was it Peyton Manning? Was Peyton Manning out there throwing interceptions? JD says, he jokes, they blurred the quarterback because he's actually from a different school and they're tampering, so they couldn't release his identity. It's just, the question is why? Why? If your starting quarterback throws a pick in practice, it's no big deal. Why bother? All of a sudden, now everybody's talking about it. It's like the CEO. If they had just played it off like they didn't even know they were on camera, probably nobody recognizes that that's the CEO of a tech company, and nobody's talking about that thing for 2 weeks.
No, we wouldn't be talking about it, right? Would we be talking about a random interception that happened at Tennessee's fall camp? Probably not. Diesel, it is, as you mentioned, just a few weeks out from football season. It's almost here, and it's time to start thinking about who you're going to draft in fantasy football. We had a fantastic turnout a year ago with our wire-to-wire fantasy league. Both leagues, we had to do two of them. They were both full, jam-packed. So in the next segment, we're going to look at the best players in 2025 to draft. But also, Tolos, I am here to admit to you that I did not do a good job as commissioner a season ago. So in the very next segment, I'm going to give up my role as commissioner, and I'm going to give it to one of you Tolos. You get to deal with all the Tolos wanting to request trades when I don't have time and I'm in the woods trying to shoot a deer and everybody's texting me about, hey, can you accept this trade? I'm done. One of you Tolos can do it. We decide, Diesel, who the best fit Tolo is for that next. Well, one thing we know, Diesel, to be certain is our Tolos love their fantasy football. Last season, they filled up not one but two fantasy leagues. We had to have a wire-to-wire 1 and a wire-to-wire 2 because you Tolos filled them up so quickly. We might have to have 3 this year. I don't know, but what I do know is you filled them up. And I also know that you Tolos out there love fantasy football. So we're going to get into that conversation in this very segment. Start taking a peek, a look, Diesel, at who the best players are to draft in this year's fantasy football. Some new faces, but ultimately this is a lot of fun. A lot of what ifs. That's what time of year it is. It's what if season. What if Jamar Chase has a big season and he's on my team? Tolos won show last year. You all submitted your recommendations for who I should draft, and we'll get to that. But also, Diesel, it's time that we elect a new commissioner because the amount of text and messages on Twitter and Facebook that I got last year, I will admit, I don't have enough time to be the commissioner of the Fantasy Football League. I do have a team, but I can't do both. I can't have a team and accept all the trades. I mean, imagine people texting you at 9:30 on a Saturday night, hey, will you accept this trade tomorrow before this thing starts with Jamar Chase and whoever else? I don't have time for it. You might, but I don't. So, Tolos, we ask you on this Monday, and by the way, we're not going to decide today, but we ask you on this Monday, what would make you a great commissioner of the Wire-to-Wire Fantasy Football League? What would make you a great commissioner?
Well, I nominate Cole Bryson to step into that role.
Nope, not doing it.
I think your penance for doing a terrible job last year should be you have to run it back, do it again, and improve this year.
I don't want to do it. I'm just going to quit. So here's what we're going to do, Diesel. All week long, we'll take submissions on random segments throughout the show that's going to, number one, require you, Tolos, to turn it on and leave it on. And then let's say Friday we'll vote on this thing.
You know what we should do? Friday we should get all the nominees on the show to make their pitch.
Well, that's what we're doing all week long, all week. That's what we want to hear. Like, we've already got a couple of texts from the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. We can narrow it down. It's election season, right? You say, you got to vote for a sheriff tomorrow if you live in Spartanburg County. Tomorrow. It's August. Usually election season's November, but we're voting for a sheriff tomorrow. So
yeah, I heard the last one's leaving out the back door.
No, he's already left. We all are going to keep the election season rolling on this show. So we're going to elect the new commissioner, let's say by Friday. We'll make it official and put a date on it. Friday's the what? The 7th, 8th? 8th of August. We'll elect the commissioner. On the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, RJ, who does Tolo a lot and texts into the show a lot, he says, I volunteer to serve as the commissioner for the Fantasy Football League. I will not run a team, so I can't be accused of being unfair.
I volunteer as tribute. Not
Diesel,
me.
don't you think? No, not you.
I have no interest in this whatsoever.
Well, you didn't play last year,
No, I
did you?
didn't. No, I'm not going to play this year either.
So here's a good text from RJ. Why do you say it's a good text? Well, here's why. He's already giving his campaign as to what he will do as the commissioner. He says, look, I'll run it, and I won't have a team. That way, nobody can accuse me of being. I like that, don't you, Diesel?
Yeah.
He's unbiased, unfair. So there's one nominee.
We can't have RJ run unopposed, though. We have
That's
to
right.
actually have an election with real.
We got to have
votes.
election. And Tolos, we are tasking you at 844-326-3663 to either nominate yourself or nominate another Tolo. That's what we're tasking you to do. Phone lines are open. Hub City Spartanburgers text line is open as well. And here's why. Diesel, I had several people reach out to me last year and say, Cole, I'll run the league for you next year. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly who those people were, but they
all
did.
go?
They volunteered. Nashty on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. Good to hear from you, Nashty. He says, I say Dewey should be the commissioner for maximum entertainment's sake.
Ooh.
Dewey has already gotten a vote, and it wasn't from himself.
Dewey.
Think about that.
So how does one learn, again, not for myself, because I don't want to do this, how does one learn to become a commissioner of a fantasy league? So I'm sure there's some people out there who are saying, I'm kind of interested in fantasy football, but I don't know what to do, right?
As a commissioner, you mean?
Yeah, as a commissioner.
Yeah.
So I guess there's probably YouTube videos out there that could teach you, but what do you have to do to be a commissioner?
Question. To be a commissioner, Diesel, you have to, number one, you have to be available. And I'm not always available. You can tell, other Tolos can tell I'm not the best at responding. I'll get that. I'll admit that. Sometimes I don't respond, right? You have to be, number one, available. I'm going to put this on the rundown since you asked because it is a good question.
Yeah. So availability is
it's the best ability.
Yes. Availability is the best of it. You can't make the club in the tub, as they say.
So availability is the number one criteria. I would say number two is fast response times. Okay? So let's say, for example, Diesel, you have a team, and you say, hey, man, I just sent in a trade request trying to trade, CD Lamb to Tolo JD, something like that, right? You got to be able to do it within a reasonable manner. You can't, like I did, 3 or 4 days later, accept the trade. Because Diesel, the commissioner, has to be the one, and I don't know if you knew that or not, so on the ESPN app that we use, the commissioner has to be the one that accepts the trade or denies it. So
right.
A trade doesn't go through unless it's accepted by the commissioner, right? And last year, I dropped the ball a lot of times. I really did. So I'd say number one, availability. Number two, fast response times. Number three, you've gotta. I'm gonna put it like this, Diesel. You've gotta know ball. Because
so does that mean Rob Brown should be commissioner of the Wire to Wire League? Because he is the knower of ball. If you look at his friggin' Twitter handle,
you're right. You're right about that, but you're wrong because he's not going to be. Here's why.
And he doesn't know ball because he didn't even get involved in the Upset Picks Challenge last year.
Let me ask you
all this game and never sent in a pick.
Diesel, if you're the commissioner, just like we talked to the executive, you mentioned Rich Clark back in the ACC kickoff, right? You've kind of got to know what's going on across the league.
Okay.
That way you, as the commissioner, Diesel, if you were the commissioner, you don't go in there and just accept any trade. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I'm robbing somebody blind. The commissioner's got to know ball to the point where he knows that's not not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the commissioner's got to know ball. Number one, he's got to be available. Number two, he's got to have fast response times. Can't be like me and 3 or 4 days go by.
So what you're saying is he's got to have no life.
Yes.
And he's got to be, people say it sounds cruel when I say this, he's got to be autistic for football.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. You do have to love football. I love it. I just don't have the attention. Maybe I don't have the bandwidth is the problem. I have a lot of things going on. I don't have the bandwidth. I need somebody with the bandwidth that can, going back to number 1 and 2, availability, fast response times, right? You got to know ball. What other requirements am I missing here, Diesel, or Tolos? Available, fast, you got to know ball, and let's say no convictions or arrests within last 10 years. How about that?
I said 90 days.
Okay, 90 days.
We don't want to
So
cast
that counts
that wide
out,
of
do
it.
we?
Shane in Sugar Tit says, I'll run the league and I'll sit it out as well. P.S. I can be bought.
So you would be willing to not play in fantasy football, Shane? Because I don't know if you played last year. I'm pretty sure you did. Tell me if I'm wrong there. You'd be willing to sit it out to be the commissioner? So RJ's already said that. Shane and Sugar Tit on the YouTube stream. Let me get over there. JD's lighting it up over there. Well, let's see. Man, there's a lot. JD's firing them off. He says, I would like to nominate myself into this role, but I'm simply too busy as well.
So you wouldn't like to nominate yourself?
Correct. He said, I would nominate DB, but he's also too busy. So now he's almost given 2 nominations. He says, I nominate Kevin. RJ, great text. I'll now nominate RJ. So I believe JD has now nominated RJ. So there's a nomination for RJ.
RJ nominated himself. So JD has seconded RJ's self-nomination.
That's right. So that's impressive. So Tolos, if I've missed any criteria, let me know. Let us know on the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line. By the way, note.
We'll keep taking it. We'll keep bringing these. And don't nominate somebody who doesn't know they're being nominated because that's just a waste of our time. You don't want to sign somebody up for 17+ weeks of running a fantasy league when they're not even aware that they're being nominated.
And I was going to say, call in or text in with your nominations, and as to why you should be nominated or to somebody else. And as Diesel said, Friday we can get them all on the show and let you Tolos vote. But you know what? When I said that, when I thought through that in my head before I spoke it, you know what I thought to myself? Is Rick and Greer alive? Think about that. How long has it been since we heard from Rick and Greer? No, seriously.
You're absolutely right. And as many weird wackadoo calls as Rick and Greer has made to us, there's a chance that he's in a ditch somewhere.
Oh. Dead?
Could be. Passed
Man,
out.
It's got dark.
Drunk.
Or in prison.
Duct tape over his mouth. We just don't know.
He could be right now in like a cement-blocked room that's like 94 degrees with a bag over his head, like in Landman.
Yeah. Best part of the whole show, by the way. The intro scene of Landman was the best part of the whole show. And it went downhill from there.
Oh, man. So Rick and Greer, if you're alive, give us a wellness check just to let us know
I don't have his number. You don't have his number.
No, I don't think I do. I really don't. Let me look real quick. Rick. No, I don't have it. I've got a million Ricks. Look how many Ricks I have.
If you wanted to put out a bat signal for Rick, I think you'd just write it on a bathroom stall wall.
Unless I have his last name in here that I don't know it's his last. I don't think I have Rick's number. So I don't know. When I was thinking that, I was like, man. By the way, DB on the YouTube stream says I will not be the commissioner. I don't have enough time. He says I plug and chug 200, and he's right. He is Diesel. DB is the mastermind behind the upsets picks.
He's the real hard worker here. We just copy and paste. Dan actually has to do the work.
Yeah. Cole, you also forgot one stipulation for commissioners, says JD. You have to set up both leagues with the same rules. Can't have one. Well, yeah, that's pretty much a given, right? That's an obvious. That is. You can set them up the same. DB asks, I don't understand why the league can't be set up with auto trades with a waiting period where all the league can deny it. Well, we can do it that way, but if it's not as fun that way, DB. I think there has to be a commissioner. Maybe we fire him if he does a bad job or rehire him again next year. So far, Nasty has nominated Dewey. RJ has a vote already behind his name. Shane and Sugar Tit. 80 Tolos watching on the stream. Continue to let us know there. Who you believe the Tolo nomination for commissioner should be.
We need to know actually from Shane. Are you self-nominating yourself, or are you just sarcastically saying I could be bought, so don't nominate me? We legitimately need to know: are you nominating yourself for this thing?
I think he is.
We
another requirement from Shane and Sugar Tit: you are in Sugar Tit. Do you have cell service 24/7? Do you?
You don't have to drive over to Boiling Springs to get signal, do you?
I mean, do you? I don't know if I've ever been to Sugar Tit. Where is it at? Up past TR a little bit? Is that right?
I'm not sure.
Shane, I'm sorry for making fun of Sugar Tit. I need to visit the old tit. I just hadn't been. I don't think I've ever been. Have you been?
I've never been. I mean, I see the sign right there on the Boiling Springs exit for the Sugar Tit Distillery. Now, there's a billboard there for Sugar Tit Distillery. It's a black billboard.
No, I didn't know that.
With the signage there.
But I think Sugar Tit's up toward North Greenville, right? Past TR. Somebody Tolo help us out here. I could be wrong. I've just never been. I don't know exactly what. So you're saying there's a distillery called Sugar Tit Distillery in Bowling? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Sugar Tit is. Let's see. This can't be right.
What's that?
No, it's an unincorporated part of Spartanburg County. So it's in Spartanburg County.
Sugar Tit is?
Yeah. 5-mile radius around Joe's Lake. Do you know where Joe's Lake is?
No. Who is Joe?
I don't know.
There's no way.
It's located around the junction of Highway 101 and State Road 296.
This doesn't make any sense.
Southeast of Greer, between Reedville and Five Forks.
Wait a minute. Between Reedville and Five Forks. I know where Reedville is. I used to work. Tolos.
Five Forks is the Simpsonville offshoot.
See, JD says it's in Reedville. This has become a pressing matter all of a sudden. We've got to find out exactly, because Diesel, we don't even know. Okay, one texter on the okay, here we go. We're getting text in. Not Sugar Tit Distillery. We're not asking about the distillery.
No, not the distillery.
We're asking about Sugar Tit, the town or neighborhood, coordinate, whatever.
Because I'm on Google Maps, and I typed in Sugar Tit, South Carolina, and it just redirects to Pelham.
So you can't even type it.
No,
you can't even get there.
It's not even a town. It's not a real place.
So one texter says Sugar Tit is near Duncan.
Kind of like Springfield. It's not a real place.
It's not. Another texter says Sugar Tit Distillery is in Reedville.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, and I don't even know where that is. Jersey Joe, by the way, has been nominated as the commissioner. I like that nomination. I don't know if that was from, I would imagine Jersey Joe nominated himself. Another texter from the 991 says near Duncan and Reedville. See, I have been so off on this. Diesel, if you come off a 25, up above TR, and
25, yeah.
Is that what? I thought there was one of those little towns.
No, that's Marietta.
Maybe
You're thinking of Marietta, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. I just thought
That's
Sugar Tit
completely
was
in the
up
wrong direction.
You're kidding me.
That's that way. Sugar Tit's that way.
Didn't know that.
And those listening are like, they have no clue which direction I'm pointing.
There's no way, Tolos. I've always, my entire life, thought Sugar Tit was up like 25 past North Greenville. That's crazy. So we're learning today where. Diesel, you and I need to go to Sugar Tit. We need to do a show live.
We need to find it.
We need
to get a compass.
Can somebody give us GPS coordinates?
We need to get an Indian guide that can take us out there. Because I don't know where it is.
Oh, an Indian guide.
Yeah, a guardian guide.
316 says basically the intersection of 101 and Reedville Road. I used to work right there at 101 and Reedville Road, and I didn't know that was. I swore I thought it was up past 25. Man, I've been wrong my entire life. Greenville Gamecock text in. Yes, it's between 101 and Duncan. I live near it. Well, there you go. The Tolo's on the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line between Duncan and Reedville.
So, what is it?
What is it?
What is?
Is it like an intersection? That's what we need to know.
Because nobody, it's not a town. It's not a real place. It's not on a map. It's just
so. If you Google it, what I mean.
So okay. So here's a good description of it, Cole. So you would know. Think I-85 BMW plant, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Where 101 crosses I-85 just north of the BMW plant.
Sure.
You go south.
Yeah. I used to work right there. That's what's crazy.
It's a couple of miles off of
101
of 85.
85. I mean. Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically due south of the BMW plant.
Wow.
But off of 101.
I've been wrong. We were supposed to get to fantasy football in this segment.
I know.
But it didn't happen.
I'm like I'm looking around at like there's an area down there called Cashville. Where the heck is Cashville?
Now I've heard of Cashville.
I've never heard of
where
Cashville.
It is. Yeah, sorry about that, Tolos. We'll get back to the we were supposed to get to the best NFL fantasy selections.
Yeah.
And we didn't, but maybe tomorrow or Wednesday.
I tell you what, next segment, we're bringing on home team Brandon Leak from 680 The Fan in Atlanta. Let's ask him where Sugar Tit is. Maybe Brandon knows.
He'll probably think, what in the world are y'all talking about?
He's like, what are you rednecks up in South Carolina doing?
How about that?
When we come back, let's go to the city of Atlanta, talk to home team Brandon Leak, who you and I had a chance to run into face-to-face up at ACC kickoff. We'll bring on Brandon next. Well, we finally got to put a face with the name and with the voice at ACC kickoff a week and a half ago. Finally got to see just how handsome our next guest is in person, and he exceeds all expectations. Welcome to the show again, home team Brandon Leak, 680 The Fan in Atlanta. How are you, pal?
Doing all right. You fellas have the faces for TV. I've got the face for radio.
Yeah, right.
never been accused of such things, of such attractiveness, Brandon. We started the show talking about what I called the abomination of this Speedway Classic between the Braves and the Reds, and I said, look, never, ever try that again. Kill it with fire. Don't ever try to do that again. Am I too harsh? I said that, and I also said this was the end of watchability for the Braves this season. Your reaction?
There were some things that did not go as planned. When you run out of buns and soda and beer and nacho cheese and hot dogs for people at a racetrack for a baseball game, it's a thing, but you didn't expect a deluge to come down and everybody to bombard the concession stand all at one time. So there were some things clearly that didn't go the way that the planners wanted it to go. I think the unfortunate part was it was a cool look. If you took the rain and the delay of a day out of it, what they were able to do to the infield at Bristol Motor Speedway, and, also to be a part of history where you have a baseball game going on in the middle of an infield, and it's just something that's a little bit different and out of the ordinary. I would say I don't think this is something that you have to do every single year or something that you have to do at a racetrack every single year. But for one night, which turned into two, throw in the rain, it was okay for what they had planned for the fans.
Brandon, I am so done with the Atlanta Braves. I'm not even going to ask you an Atlanta Braves question. I don't think I may later on. I may decide to, but I'm going to ask you. I'm going to get your reaction on the coaches poll that was released as you guys covered the Georgia Bulldogs and also the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech pretty heavily. You guys did a great job, by the way, up at the ACC kickoff. But the Georgia Bulldogs in the coaches top 25. Or the number 4 team in all the land, followed or in front of Georgia, Penn State 3, Ohio State 2, and Texas 1. Is Georgia the 4th best team in the country?
I don't think so, and I think it's also helpful for Kirby Smart. He finally has something he could use as bulletin board material. He's been the chased team, and now people don't believe in him or Gunnar Stockton or the new wide receivers that have come in, and the guys are going to be stepping up to play defense, so it might be a good thing for the Georgia Bulldogs. Look, Penn State and Ohio State, the defending champs, they are solid programs, and so is Texas, but the bottom line is everybody except for Penn State is switching out quarterbacks. And unfortunately, Texas keeps getting all of this love. They got it last year and the year before, but they don't win the big games. They win some of the games on their schedule. And right now, just like when Kirby Smart was on the rise when he first got to Georgia, Alabama was his boogeyman. Right now, Georgia's the boogeyman of Texas. They keep getting ranked higher than the Georgia Bulldogs, and Georgia keeps finding a way to get victory. So I don't know if this is good for the rest of the SEC that you say 3 more teams are better than Kirby Smart and the nation, and Texas, the team that can't beat him, is ahead of him all of a sudden because, Arch Manning is now taking control of the bus.
Brandon, how much love could Georgia Tech and Haynes King actually achieve there in the city of Atlanta? I mean, Haynes is going on 50 years old. He's been there forever. You got to think this is his best chance, obviously, to have a solid season that looks good past game 5 or 6. I mean, I know that Georgia Tech is not the biggest school in the ACC. It's situated right there in the heart of a massive metro area. I mean, could the city actually put any real attention behind them, or are they always going to be an afterthought no matter what they do?
No, I think this is one of the good opportunities where it's not just hype that Georgia Tech has had in a long time. You might have to go back 15 or 16 years. When you look at Haynes King coming back for his senior season, Buster Faulkner, the offensive coordinator, getting a contract extension, Jamal Haynes, running back, very comfortable in what they ask of him to do. Malik Rutherford, one of the wide receivers, smaller guy, but a speedster. Georgia Tech has an incredible opportunity, but guys, it comes down really to the early game in the season against Clemson. If they play close and lose, it's same old Georgia Tech. Maybe next year they'll be a good enough program to climb the ladder. If they beat Clemson, Clemson could be in the rear view mirror for a long time when you look at the rest of Georgia Tech's schedule, and they might have a great opportunity to end up in the ACC championship game. So, Brent Key has been showing steady progress. Coming up just one play short, yet 8 chances to beat Georgia in the 8 overtime classic last year. And if you had beaten those guys, you got a chance to see maybe a team that wasn't on the same level per se, got it done on the road. But I think what we heard, and I don't know if you guys talked to everybody at Georgia Tech at ACC Media Days, what they said they learned was you have to learn to finish. The other thing they learned is if you can play Georgia that closely, you can play with anybody in the nation that closely. And so Cade Klubnik, the guy who is playing his last season at Clemson at the quarterback position, and Haynes King, that battle in Atlanta at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field, that could have dramatic impact on both programs and their ride through the ACC and perhaps the college football playoff.
Brandon Leak, home team Brandon Leak, joining us right here on the Fan Upstate. I agree with you there. You know what's interesting? When you bring up Georgia Tech's schedule, Brendan Diesel and I talk about this with Clemson and South Carolina all the time. You're right. They've got Clemson. Obviously, we'll see how the opener at Colorado goes. But if you can get that win, and then all of a sudden you look at the rest of the schedule, I could make the case to you, Brandon Leak, that Georgia Tech could go 10-2. But the question becomes, at 10-2, does Georgia Tech out of the ACC, again, they'll obviously have another win or loss, right, if they go 10-2. Does a Georgia Tech team in the ACC at 10-2 make the college football playoff?
At 10-2, it will be very interesting. I still don't think the ACC will get the love that the SEC would get with 2 lost teams, just because of the strength of the conference and the cachet that the coaches and the programs have. But, it will be very interesting. It might be a situation where it might not be enough, and they may have to find a way to go into a 10-2 scenario and then win the ACC conference in the championship game in Charlotte in order to secure that they punch a ticket. So I think the good thing is no matter what happens with Georgia Tech, they cannot get fat cat syndrome and start thinking that they've arrived or people will always be in their rearview mirror. They're going to have to give their best every single week, watch out for trap games, and find a way to beat Clemson. If you can get to a situation when you get Georgia, certainly that would help you at the end of the season. But that game is a neutral site this year in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and dog fans do travel well. So I'm looking at order your steps. Find a way to beat Clemson. Find a way to get to the championship game. Find a way to get to the championship game and win it. And you know what? You earn and punch your ticket to the college football playoff, and you don't have to worry about how many games you lost.
Brandon, I think we all have a lot of respect and admiration for Brent Key and the job he's done at Georgia Tech. He also wears some snazzy suits, I'm telling you. But going into his 3rd season there at Georgia Tech, if he does have the type of season that we all think he's capable of, and that the odds and everything stacked up to be a good season, I put on your prediction hat for a second. Does Brent Key stick around Georgia Tech for a while? Obviously, it's a unique situation. The academic requirements are what they are. They're kind of sitting in Clemson's back pocket and in Georgia Tech's back pocket as well. So it's tough to get a strong foothold there in the city of Atlanta. I mean, I would think a lot of schools would come to try to hire him. Do you think he wants to stick around Georgia Tech for a long time?
I think he does. I think he and Kirby Smart and Mario Cristobal are unique in that they have had opportunities to grow up elsewhere in their coaching careers and then have a chance to go back to their alma mater. And all 3 of those coaches, it means much to them to restore and for Kirby to keep his program where it is at a high level. And so, no, I don't think Brent Key has any interest in leaving. And what he has behind Haynes King is a fantastic quarterback in Aaron Philo, who got a chance to play last year where Haynes King was banged up for a few weeks. He is really high on him. So he's in a position where once Haynes King is done playing football, he doesn't have to go scrambling and searching and worrying about a big turnover at his quarterback position. He'll have Buster Faulkner. He'll have his next quarterback, and he continues to build his offensive line and move up in the recruiting every year. I think Brent Key has his dream job, and his dream is to find a way to beat Georgia, be ACC champions, and find a way to the college football playoff.
He almost got one of those dreams last season with that the overtime game that continued in late into the night. Brandon, are you saying, before we move off of the Georgia Tech conversation, because I'm looking at the schedule, and look, you're right, that early Clemson game will kind of dictate how the season goes. Is there hope and prayer and chance at the CFP and maybe breaking through? Does it all hinge on that game on September 13th in Atlanta?
I think so, because if you don't win that game, you'll be looking up at Clemson, which is really two games, another loss and then the tiebreaker. And then you can't overlook what Miami might be, what the ACC representative last year could have been in SMU alone when you're talking about if they had beaten Clemson. So there are some teams that are going to make the ACC very relevant, very exciting, and top-heavy, just like the SEC and the Big Ten are as well. So that's the game. And, it's at home. And you beat Miami last year when they came in with Cam Ward and that offense that they had, and you beat them. So you need to find a way to start establishing a culture of your Georgia Tech. When people come to Atlanta, they should plan to be beaten and figure out a way how to do more than Georgia Tech has to do, as opposed to always coming to Atlanta and assuming that Georgia Tech was going to find a way to flub it and find a way to not win a game.
Home Team B Leak is where you can find him on Twitter. We invite all of our Tolos to go do that and give him a follow. Give us a sense of the local feel around Alex Anthopoulos making essentially token moves at the trade deadline. Help me understand the logic there. Is it just that this team is so far gone and below 500 that making moves for a one-year rent-a-player just isn't really in their best interest?
The logic doesn't logic, and he's taking fire, as we all will and do, on social media from Braves country. He came on 680 The Fan flagship here in Atlanta for the Atlanta Braves and gave his reasoning. I just don't understand, one, and two, except that nobody wanted anything that the Braves have. I mean, I don't care if it's Pierce Johnson and you throw in Julio or Raisel Iglesias for cash considerations. If you don't find a way to find a dance partner for Marcelo Ozuna by himself, you can understand that because his stats have been horrific the last 2 months due to his hip injury, in my opinion. So I just didn't understand why you have Raisel Iglesias, you have Marcelo Ozuna, two players that at the end of the season will be unrestricted free agents, basically have the opportunity now to walk out of the door, not even for a minor league player, for a prospect, for cash that you could use on somebody else, maybe Kyle Schwarber in the offseason. It just was mind-boggling. And then, look, nothing was going to be a huge deal for Alex Anthopoulos and the Braves. But when you look at what Eli White has done and Nick Allen has done and Grant Holmes before he got injured, guys who you didn't think were going to be huge parts of what the Braves were competitively, it makes the point that you just never know who could help out when you are in a situation where you need all the help you can get. So I think the other thing for Alex Anthopoulos, he's had one bad year. He had a run. We won the NL East 6 years in a row. He's been to the World Series. He's won the World Series as a general manager. And so, if a guy has one bad year, I don't think you have to get him on the hot seat immediately, but you have to, I think, show the fans that you are not messing around. This is not just going to be looked at as a one-off, and you are going to be in serious business about signing the star players in the offseason and making the tweaks it needs for this team to be a dominant team once again.
So I lied, Brandon. I will allow my last question to be a Braves question since Diesel went there. But so here's my problem. You're right. He did win 6 in a row, division, whatever. Won a World Series, and then I'm not dismissing a World Series. So I guess my question to you, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times in the Atlanta area, hosting every day as you do, how did we get this far gone? How did we just a few years ago go from what we were to looking at this organization thinking, man, with the farm system and the talent we have, we're set up for the next decade. How did we go from that to where we are today at the very beginning of August to where the Braves are not relevant?
The great question that has to be resolved, and it can only be resolved with time, is if the guys who had career seasons a couple of years ago, that was the hallmark, and everybody hit their strides at the same time, and that's their best and not what they most likely are to be. Or if this is a situation where you sign some guys early and it worked out early, and now later on it's not working out. There are serious questions and places that need to be filled. Your bullpen is a disaster. You need to figure out who is going to play DH if Marcell Ozuna is at the end of the line. There may be questions about Ozzie Albies, albeit you have to pay him $7 million. So even if he's not that good, that's not a bad price to pay for a second baseman. Who's playing shortstop next year? And then which free agent are you going to sign? Is it going to be Kyle Tucker? Is it going to be Kyle Schwarber? You know, there are a lot of things that need to be resolved. And so it's a great wait and see. Is this just a one-off by a bunch of guys who can hit, or is this a team full of guys who did hit, and now they have a bunch of streaky hitters on the depth chart?
Brandon, what's going on in the Falcons organization? We are told those are kind of split, not quite 50-50, maybe 70-30 Panthers fans to Falcons fans. What's the latest scuttlebutt down there?
That math, I would say, is a bit inaccurate, but I can't verify. I will say that more than 10,000 people came the last couple of practices to witness the Atlanta Falcons have training camp. They have not been allowed at Flowery Branch the last 2 years because the organization was doing expansion on some of the buildings, building a new weight room and extending some of the other parts of the facility. So people have been dying to get out there. I will tell you that it has been physical and scrappy. James Pierce Jr., just about in every practice has been into a scuffle, squabble, or something, and he got into one today, halfway through practice today. He keeps finding ways to agitate offensive linemen, and there is shoulder grabbing, helmet ripping often, and he is certainly asserting himself as a guy who has a mean streak, and he is not putting up with anybody's foolishness on a football field. Raheem Morris actually had to get in front of him to calm him down today so that they could finish practice, keep him in, and not let things escalate. So Raheem Morris has already said Michael Penix Jr. and Kirk Cousins will not be playing in the preseason game Friday night against the Lions. There'll be a lot of rookies, and if you go look at the box score from last year when Kirk Cousins came, there were not significant players who played, and it was a lot of rookies that played in game one. So I think things are progressing. The big thing, like everybody else, they want to keep people healthy, and they've done a very good job with doing that. I talked to Jalen Walker today, who got to practice. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury, probably won't play Friday, but said he is willing to go in if he needs to, and he is chomping at the bit to get in on some football action.
Home team, Brandon Leak, 680 The Fan in Atlanta. Brandon, we tell you this a lot. We mean it. We appreciate you as always, man. You're the best.
Cole, Diesel, you call, I'll be there.
You are the man, Brandon Leak. You can follow him on Twitter, as Diesel mentioned. One more time, Diesel, at
Home Team B Leak.
Thank you for that.
Leak.
Home Team B Leak. Give him a follow on X if you have not done so. Speaking of training camp, Scary Terry and Micah Parsons both have requested to be traded. However, over the weekend, both were at training camp. Weird or not weird? We discuss next. You know, Diesel, if I told our boss that I wanted to leave this radio station and not come back, and I was pretty much done, and I put on social media how much I didn't like working here and how bad the boss was, how bad you were, how bad everybody else was, but then the next day showed up to work. Would that be would that be weird or no?
Oh, it's like he forgot that he quit. That's a George Costanza, by the way.
What are we doing?
That episode literally exists in Seinfeld.
Yeah, I don't understand it. What am I missing? So Micah Parsons requested a trade.
Yep.
Scary Terry, we all know one of the best receivers. Well, I would say not the best. One time was still a pretty good receiver in the game. The NFL requests a trade. Both are videoed, seen, filmed, taking pictures of at training camp on Saturday.
Wait, you thought I was serious about that? I was joking.
So that of course we all would imagine that that's strange, Diesel. Does that show? If you show back up to work the next day, does it show that you really weren't serious about your trade request? That there might be a little bit of you inside that still wants to get a deal done?
It shows that you realized how much of an idiot you were posting that on social media. It shows that your agent can't undo or / unscrew what you have just screwed, and that nobody will want to work with you. So you got an agent who's probably a male between the ages of 40 and 55 who grew up on Seinfeld, who loves the episode, who said, hey, just go back in there and pretend like it never happened.
I just don't know if it looks good on your part from the ownership standpoint, because like you're playing hardball, you're being hard to get, right? We all know that Micah Parsons and Scary Terry want to get paid, but you're over there playing hard to get, but you still show up to the date. I don't understand it. I believe these will ultimately both want to get a deal done with the Cowboys and with the Commanders. I do. I believe that they both want to get it. Look,
the best way to show your significant other that you're in the relationship is to break up with them first?
To quit, right? So that's what I'm saying. Are we now to the point where trade demands are just part of contract negotiations? Is that where we are? Because think about it. It certainly looks that way, doesn't it? JD,
openly flirting with other teams, maybe as a push for your current employer to get a deal done. Oh, if we don't hurry up and sign this guy, he's going to go to the competition, and we can't let him go to the competition.
So JD on the YouTube stream, and he brought this up on Twitter the other day. He says, I won't ever understand how you're shocked by Parsons requesting a trade. There are steps to a contract holdout. So, JD, I don't know if you have Twitter, you have social media. You're acting like I was the only person on planet Earth that was surprised by this. Here's the deal. Literally no one, JD, saw this coming. If you saw it coming, you're intelligent more than us. You're more intelligent than us. Maybe you are, and that's fine. Nobody. Let's not act like nobody saw this coming. Go listen to the home ship in Dallas, 105.3 The Fan, who carried the Cowboys, and go ask them if this was something people saw coming. Micah was Jerry's guy from the very beginning. If you want to sound like the expert that you knew it was, that's fine. I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying like nobody saw this coming, JD. Literally nobody. Micah, yes, people request trades, but Micah has been Jerry's guy. Jerry's loyal. Ask Dak, ask Zeke, ask CD. If you saw this coming, maybe you're just a brighter football mind than literally the entire world, but nobody saw this coming.
What does it say about fans if they accept Micah Parsons back with open arms? What does it say about Jerry Jones if he welcomes Micah Parsons back with open arms? It's
interesting.
That's basically the dictionary definition of being cuckolded.
It's interesting. Both good players, right? Micah, Scary Terry, and both on Saturday at training camp. I didn't see that coming. I'm sure JD did, but I just look. I don't know. It just baffles my mind that we're to the point now where requesting a trade is just part of contract negotiation.
Well, Cole, you said it. We've got training camp news. We've got the first coaches poll. We've got the Braves-Reds game in Bristol. Coming up in the next segment, this is Tolo's chance to get it off their chests. What do you want to overreact to about this past weekend in sports? We'll get to that. Your phone calls at 844-FAN-PHONE next. All right, Tolos, who's got the peaches to call in to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson and voice your gripes about what you saw over the weekend? It is Overreaction Monday. We had PGA golf right up the road in Greensboro. We had Braves baseball training camp. So much going on in the sports world, even though there's not a ton going on in the sports world at the moment. Call in and sound off. 844-326-3663. Be a part of the show. Let's go, Tolos. What do you got to say?
Diesel, I have one that's sports related.
Okay.
And you know what? I will say this. Somebody brought it up last Thursday because we were doing the high school football kickoff show for Greenville. We didn't have a Tolo takeover last Thursday. So if anybody does have any gripes or complaints they need to get off their chest today, since they weren't able to on Thursday, we'll take those as well. But overreaction sports-wise, Diesel, I will overreact by saying let's do something productive as people who make decisions, not you and I, but let's do something very productive and let's delete, clear history on this whole March Madness thing. What am I talking about? What do I mean? Today, we got news that the tournament would not expand for the 2026 season. That means it's staying the same, right? Now that we've had our fun little conversations about expansion and all this dancing around, can we just delete that, clear the history, and not ever bring that topic back up again? It's pointless. We're not expanding. We don't need to expand. It's 68 freaking teams. Is that right? 68
Yeah,
teams?
68
that is
teams.
Plenty of freaking teams. Oh, I didn't get a chance to go. I don't care. 68's enough. Don't want to hear from you. Adios.
I don't need to hear from the team that finished 8th in the American Athletic Conference. I don't need to hear from the 10th best team in the SEC. If you finish 10th, you finished 10th. You had a bum-ass season, and you don't deserve to be in the national tournament playing for the national championship. I got my issues with the way the NCAA tournament puts its field together. They have been well documented on this station. We don't need to go back through them. But we sure as hell don't need teams that finish 2 games above 500 in the ACC.
I'm with you. Let's just go ahead and delete that conversation. No more. Bringing it back up. No more. That was my sports one. I also have one non-sports related I'll get to real quick because if I don't, I'll forget about it. Today, Diesel, this is my Tolo takeover carried over from Thursday to today, but it actually happened today, so I'll voice it today. I was at an establishment, a restaurant, where you walk up, you order food, you go sit down, they bring you the food. I think these people that I'm about to describe belong in jail. If you, and again, I want to be very specific here, unless it's for service purposes. If you bring a dog, particularly a big old freaking dog that's taller than you are, into a restaurant where I'm trying to eat my lunch, you deserve to be in jail, throw away the key. What freaking idiot. In their mind. So here's the best part, Diesel. You hadn't even heard it yet. It gets better. The dumb lady, and God, I wish she was listening. I know she's not because she probably don't know or has a radio.
Well, it's bold of you to assume her pronouns.
Diesel, she walks in, orders, walks over to the counter. Here's what happens. My food comes out. I look at the person that I'm with, and I'm thinking, I looked at him and I said, there's no way this is happening right now. He said, yeah, it is. So I walk over to get a knife and a fork. Well, guess what happens when I walk over to get the dog is acting stupid and front left paw up on the counter where the ketchup, the ranch, the knife. I'm so
gross.
upset. I walked straight to the thing, found the guy. I said, hey, just so you know, that dog just jumped on your freaking counter. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go tell her to leave. She can have it. So she then gets her food and leaves. He never said. Why do people in their right mind think it's okay to walk into a restaurant with a dog?
Dogs should not ever be allowed inside of a restaurant. Ever should be allowed inside of a restaurant. I don't care how clean you think your dog is. And I'm a dog owner, okay? I'm a dog guy. And I get it. If you want to take your dog out you gotta realize there's certain places you can't go with your dog, right?
100%.
I don't care how clean you think your dog is. Your dog goes outside and pees, and some of that gets on their feet.
Yes.
Your dog, a lot of dogs root around in their own mess sometimes. They've got dander, they've got hair, they've got all kinds of things and plenty of reasons why dogs, just from a health code standpoint, should never be allowed inside the four walls of the restaurant.
Yep.
If you wanna have a special spot outside on a patio where you go sit and you wait for somebody to come and take your order and stay outside on the patio, that's fine. I got no problems with that. But there's also a lot of people, Cole, who treat their dog like it's a fashion accessory. Like they want to take their dog everywhere they go.
This was a golden
and we've
doodle, by the way.
lost the ability to say, you know what? It's not about me.
Yeah.
Sure, I don't want to pay for a board today so that I can go to lunch with my dog. Or I don't want to put my dog on a chain in the backyard. Or I don't want to put my dog in a kennel in the living room. Suck it up and do it, because you don't get to take your dog everywhere you want to go, because it negatively affects other people's experiences
Well, let me tell you
when
this.
they go to restaurants.
I regret, and I didn't do it in the moment, and now I regret it, because she might not ever be. I regret not saying anything to the dumb lady who brought the dog in. I should have. I should have said something to her. I didn't. I didn't want to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. And now I regret it. I wish I would have, because she's an idiot. I don't know if you heard. She's an idiot.
Yes.
Don't bring a dog.
Service dog,
man.
even service dogs are still dirty.
I'm telling you.
I get that they serve a vital purpose
It
for somebody
worked
who
me
might
up.
be blind or disabled or whatever, but it's even a service dog shouldn't be allowed to go inside of
When
restaurants.
that thing popped up on the counter, I about
That's
smacked.
gross.
I should have smacked that lady with a tray.
You
so
should have
hard,
gone
man.
back to the counter and said, "Give me my money back. I'm not eating this
Yeah,
food."
I mean, I wish I would have said something. And the bad part is she was so just dumb looking.
Yeah.
She was fat. She just didn't have her hair. I mean, she just, one of those, this is my world. Everything revolves around me. I'm going to walk my 304 pounds in here with my dog and go eat my, don't walk into a restaurant with a dog. Go.
Yeah, leave him in the car with the window
It
down.
worked
He'll be
me up
fine
today,
for 5
man.
minutes.
It worked me up.
I get it.
I'm telling you.
I get it, man. John Dog says, what about a service dog, a seeing eye dog? Well, a seeing eye dog still pees. A seeing eye dog still gets, eats nasty food that gets in their mouths and digs and roots. I get that,
Should
people.
I
get
call
that people
the restaurant
need
later?
Yeah,
think I should,
I get that people need to have that animal, but still, that doesn't make it not dirty for the other patrons of the restaurant.
You know what I should do? I should call them. Bleep out the restaurant name and then bring the conversation.
Well, that's illegal. You can't do that.
Oh,
that's an FCC
No. It's
violation.
illegal if you get caught.
No, that's
illegal if you get caught.
Very much an FCC.
Speeding's illegal, Diesel. I speed every day. I speed, but I mean, I'm just telling you, it burned my grits today, man. It did. It just, I couldn't believe it. I should have said something.
If you got a service dog, if you a seeing eye dog, John Dog, call the restaurant first and say, hey, I want to order takeout. I have a seeing eye dog. I can't come in. Can you bring it out?
There
to
you
the
go.
car?
I bet they will.
It's
I
that
bet they will.
simple. We got two Tolos who have been hanging on the line for a while, itching to go after each other.
Speaking of dogs.
So first, let's go to Dan B. Dan, I don't know if you're calling in about the tiff that you're in with JD on the stream, but if that's the case, could you back it up and give us a little context as to why you're upset at JD?
Okay, not straight up upset. I got three though, and that'll be one of them.
Okay.
The dog thing just reminded me this past week when I was traveling to work in the back of an airplane. Some lady boarded first with I'm not easily 100-pound dog, but it wasn't just like a big 100-pound dog. It was just a fat 100-pound dog. And apparently, I don't know all the commotion that eventually transpired, but the dog was so big that it basically didn't fit underneath her seat. So she was like letting the dog sit next to her, but that was a sold seat, and that became an issue. And it's just like, no, do the hell that. Like, I don't believe in ESA animals at all. I mean, that's just trying to travel for free with your animal that should be in the cargo hold. But
yeah, I'm with you.
Number two was I've been to Bristol a couple times. I've also been to Daytona a couple times, and I don't. The way you described it, Diesel, I don't think it's totally accurate. It isn't like rusty girders. Yeah, there's girders, but I felt like the underneath of Bristol was exactly to be expected. It was a way smaller event. It wasn't a NASCAR event I was at, but there was plenty of vending and the bathrooms were clean. Even Jess was like, "Why is Diesel saying the place looks so nasty?" Bristol's okay. I mean, I don't have any complaints about Bristol. And then the third thing has to do with the commissioner thing. No, I don't have any beef with JD about that. That's all good fun. But I think two things. One, Dewey should be the commissioner so that he can complain about himself every week and talking about how the commissioner sucks and he needs to be fired. Plus, if he's the commissioner, then we every day could say, that guy sucks. He needs to be fired.
I like it.
Thanks, Dan.
Our Tolos are now ending their calls with Remember who was it last week that called in and acted like Dewey?
I don't know
who that was.
I mean, Dewey's a fan favorite. Yeah. As many people call in to complain, get that guy off the radio. He's an idiot. Don't let him on. We got people who absolutely love Dewey.
Where is Dewey today?
Tom might be the president of the Dewey fan club.
Yeah, I think he is. I really do. Let's go back to the phone lines. JD wants to overreact on this Monday. What's up, JD?
Hey, gentlemen. Thanks for taking my call. There's a lot to unpack here. First thing I will say is, hey, new news, everybody. Cole hates dogs. Hashtag Cole hates dogs.
I hate
the
them in
hashtag
restaurants.
goes before the word.
I hate
JD.
dogs in restaurants. I really do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him during the break. Me and Diesel are going to just sit here. I'm going to call him and tell him what happened.
Liz, I am with you as far as the dogs getting into the restaurant thing, because apparently you can just go on the internet and find like a service dog certificate and print it out for your dog. And basically you can just take your dog wherever you need to go.
95% of people would never question that.
It's true.
Exactly. They'll never question it. And here we are with dogs jumping up on the counter. Like, listen, I got a husky. She sheds a lot. And she will literally take food off of your plate if you're not paying attention. So, yeah, I'm going to get her a service dog certificate. And I think we're just going to go ruin a bunch of people's day who are out at lunch. That might have even been me today, Cole. Maybe that was me. It
wasn't. You're way too skinny and short.
JD, I think you've just found your calling as an internet personality. You go see what you can get away with your service dog that's not a service dog, yet you've got a fake service dog certificate.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. And then I'll sneak into Memorial Stadium, not Death Valley, like that dude did from I don't even remember who it was. I'll go sneak into like major venues. And so, yeah, my other overreaction though is Cole. I just wanted to, because I didn't want you to think I was singling you out on being surprised about Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Basically, though, from my understanding and what I've been able to grasp is it's literally the same thing. Every player that has a contract dispute, it just plays out in a specific order. And so I just don't understand why we are surprised about where it ends up landing when he requests a trade. Because how does it start? Okay, the player wants a new contract. Team does not give it to him. Player and team have a back and forth about their new contract. Player holds out. And then finally, the last thing that'll happen when the player doesn't get that contract is they'll request a trade. So that's all I'm saying.
So I'm a little confused, though. I'm a little confused if you're not surprised by him requesting a trade, but you're also not surprised if they keep him. I mean, like, to me, it just sounds like were you or was anybody else predicting this to happen for him to request a trade? I didn't see any of it. I didn't hear it. Maybe I just don't pay attention enough to your.
I feel like if that happens, you should automatically trade him to the Browns. Bleep around and find out. You want to request a trade? Guess what? Have fun in Cleveland.
No, that'd be bad.
Right. And Cole, yeah, valid point. So no, I wasn't predicting necessarily that Micah Parsons.
I'm just saying, if this building next to us just collapses right now, and I look out the window and look at Diesel and say, Diesel, I knew that building was going to collapse. He's going to look at me and say, well, how did you know? I wasn't surprised. I mean, if you were out here predicting this, I'd be with you. But I mean, everybody's surprised by my go call into any station across the country. People are shocked by this.
Right. And like I said, it's just like the next progression of things that happen. So now had you told me, hey, man, that building next door, it looks really weak. It looks like they're having issues with their owner. The owner doesn't want to invest money into making it better or part of the team or whatever. And then it collapsed. Then I may not be surprised if you tell me that, hey, it collapsed. And that's kind of, like I said, it's just kind of the next progression in things. Like, projecting forward. No, I didn't predict that Micah Parsons was going to request a trade. And then also, no, I am not surprised that Jerry Jones isn't going to trade the guy because he's under contract. The deal is already signed for him to play one more year. But I'm not going to be surprised if he doesn't trade him either because guess what? You're already under contract. Jerry Jones literally doesn't have to do anything. And the only thing I can picture is those, are they elk? Are they moose or whatever? When they get stuck in the woods and they've got their antlers, stuck together, and one person or one animal is going to have to bow down in order to get those horns interlocked free. I just don't see Jerry
So
Jones
what will
or
surprise
Micah
you?
Parsons, if it gets really hot in a few weeks.
Hey,
If the rain
JD,
stops and it gets really hot.
JD, Buckeye Brian on the stream messages in and says, because we read everything, he says, JD just likes to hear himself talk. Your live response on the air.
No, that you're confusing me with Rob Brown.
Ooh,
No, I don't like to hear myself talk.
taking
As a
shots.
matter of fact,
It's getting
As
spicy.
a matter of fact, I hate my voice, but I am a loyal Tolo, and as Diesel says, I've got the peaches to call in. So you know what, Buckeye Brian, go ahead and call in. Y'all be blessed, not stressed, and we will see y'all soon.
All
Thanks,
right.
JD.
I
Now
guess
he's
every time he
dropping
calls in, we'll have to
bombs.
call him Peaches when he calls in.
Yeah, Miss Peaches. You know who Miss Peaches is, by the way, Diesel?
Miss Peaches?
You don't know who Miss Peaches is?
I know. I know Miss Frizzle, but I don't know Miss
I can't
Peaches.
believe you don't know who Miss Peaches is.
Miss Peaches?
Yeah.
Is that like a Georgia
You being a dog
state
guy
thing?
No, it's the most famous dog in the world,
Miss Peaches.
according to her social media
Did you know that
account.
South Carolina produces more peaches
Yeah,
than Georgia?
I do, yeah.
So their whole peach state thing is a big load of crap.
Let me ask you this question. If I told you, and they'll probably come in on the text line before you guess, if you're the most popular dog in the world,
In the world.
by social media following.
Oh, I'm sure it's Golden Retriever.
Yeah, but whose dog would it be?
Miss Peaches.
I can't believe.
Kim Kardashian?
No. Right now,
Taylor Swift?
This dog, the dog account by itself has 921,000 followers.
God.
Which is on 41.3 million.
JD's
likes
only got
on-
475.
This is just on TikTok, by the way.
Oh my God.
Not on Instagram. It's Dave Portnoy's dog. Barstool.
Of course, Dave Portnoy named his dog Miss
Miss
Peaches.
Peaches, yeah.
What a
So
loser.
anyways, he's a rich loser, by the way.
Oh, well, that's true. He's winning at a lot of things. I don't know what I'm talking. I have no place to talk about.
Jarrett
Portnoy.
Tripp says, speaking of Parsons, does any player care about winning now, or is it all about self and money? Good question.
Ding, ding, ding.
Good question. I think you hit the nail there, Jarrett Tripp. You're right.
I didn't get a chance to get to my overreaction,
Go ahead.
so I'll wait and do it on the other side of the break. How about that?
Well, I was gonna say, Lefty Tiger asked about the commissioner thing, and he said he just got off of work, so he didn't hear what was going on with the commissioner. By the way,
Texter says, how does Diesel not know that?
told you,
How do
see?
you not know how to spell the word diesel? Good God, you drive past 30 gas stations a day, every day for your entire life, and you don't know how to spell that word.
he spelled diesel wrong. That's good. Is
I
that
before
Tom?
E.
Is that Tom in all caps?
I have no idea.
I bet it is. But anyways, Lefty Tiger, we had a conversation at 4 o'clock. We are electing a new commissioner of the Fantasy Football League. That's what we're doing. So if you want to nominate yourself, we need you to nominate yourself on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line.
Buckeye Brian says, I predicted JD would say that. My overreaction for this Monday, Cole, is that Jay Monahan is getting soft as commissioner of the PGA, and he needs to stop giving these guys so much damn time off.
Okay.
I tried to watch the Wyndham over the weekend, trying to turn it on. You know how many of the top 20 golfers in the world played in this tour event?
I'd say, how many top 20? I'd say
Top 20.
one.
Five.
Five, okay.
Like five. Four or five of the top 20 golfers. That means 3/4 of the top 20 said, skip it. We're not going to Greensboro for the Wyndham. Jordan Spieth and Ricky Fowler are probably the two biggest names that actually played in this thing. But guess what? No Scotty, no Rory, no Xander, no Justin, no Russell, no Colin, no Harris, no JJ, no Ludwig. None of the best golfers played in this thing, and it ruins a tour event. This is a real event. This is part of the tour. You know, like a lot of times, Cole, like you and I, Rob and Lonzo, we couldn't all just take vacation at the same time because we wanted to. Our boss would tell us, no, you can't all four go on vacation at the same time. But Jay Monahan lets them do it, and it's ruining some of these events. So there you go. It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
We'll sneak in Tom here.
Oh, okay,
and
Tom.
by the way, that's Diesel. To your point, that in my mind, in my opinion, that's kind of one of the things, the biggest problems with golf. That's the biggest problem. They play
too much time off.
Way too much time off. We can't consistently follow them. Before we run to a break, I even pulled the music back. We'll keep it going a little longer on Overreaction Monday. Tom in Somerville. What's up, Tom?
Hey, guys. So I was bored as can be this weekend because there ain't nothing on TV to watch because me and my wife were watching Hunting Wives, and I'm sitting there, thinking, what better could I be doing, right? And I answered my own question. We have missed a golden opportunity to have preseason college football games on the first 2 weeks in August. There ain't nothing on TV worth watching, so put college preseason games on the first 2 weekends in August, and then that'll give teams 3 weeks afterwards to prepare for the opener. It makes too much sense. I don't know what we're doing sitting here wondering why we got to watch Hunting Wives.
What is that?
We could be watching preseason college football.
There is no such thing as preseason college football, Tom.
That's why I'm saying we need it.
What is? I'm more Tom. I'm more curious. What is Hunting Wives?
Well, my wife.
Is it okay to tell on the radio?
What channel would they even show Hunting Wives on?
It's a Netflix show,
Of
and it
course.
has something to do with hunting, but it ain't PG material.
So
I'll put it that way.
hunting is the first word of the show, but it's barely about hunting.
What is it? I mean, can you
depends on-
say anything, Tom?
Well, let's just say there is a group of rich women that try to cover up for each other, and they aren't very faithful to their husbands.
I didn't know they
I'll
put
leave
dirty
it at
movies
that.
like that on Netflix.
It's dirty. I mean, it puts the capital D in dirty. I'm sitting there watching, thinking I'm about to see some rich wives hunt some hogs, and let's just say they killed a hog, but
God.
they put the capital D in dirty. I'll leave it at that.
You know what? I'm going to go home and watch. I'm genuinely intrigued.
I
about
don't know
hunting.
if I want to.
Is it
Can we get
Hunting Wives or
Netflix on
Hunting
this
Wives?
TV, Diesel?
Hey, Diesel, if you like crime, Cole, I know you like crime shows.
I do.
This is a fictional crime story, and it ain't very Christian-like, but at the same time, the storyline is actually really good.
Okay.
It's really good.
Hey, Tom, can I comment on one of the shows that you did tell me to watch real quick? I know we're going over break, but while I've got you told me to watch Bloodline, right?
Yeah.
I watched it. Season 1, I loved it. But here's my problem, and I need you to convince me on how or talk me into getting back into it. And spoiler alert for anybody that hadn't watched it, mute your radio real quick, like in 3, 2, 1, so I can ask Tom this question. Sorry, this is not great radio. But, Tom, now that Danny's died, I have no interest in the show.
Oh, dude, it's just getting started.
Nah. He was the
just
best
getting
part,
started.
though.
Plus, that show, didn't it come out like 10 years ago? So if people hadn't watched it, there's no spoiler alert for a
That's
show
true.
that
That's
old.
true. You're right.
It's like
Thank you.
spoiler alert, if you watch the movie Jaws, somebody gets eaten by a shark.
I think it is. I think it is about 10 years. Is that right, Tom? 10 years or so old?
It's about that.
Okay.
It's about that.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
But Danny he's what makes the show, and then he dies, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Nah, it gets better. I promise.
All right,
it gets
Tom.
a lot better.
Be
Thanks,
safe.
Tom.
Thanks, Tom, in Somerville. You can't
There
make
you
this
go.
stuff up, man. Overreaction Monday went long, but it is what it is. Little sports soundtrack from the weekend. What happened? There was so much. We used to call it Audio Blitz. We still might at times, but a little sports soundtrack next on the Fan Upstairs. soundtrack of what happened over the weekend, a little sports soundtrack. Man, Buckeye Brian is going just full bombs away, isn't he, in the YouTube stream right now? I love it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that he's going off on JD. Because JD says he's not surprised by a lot of things.
I get it. It's good. I get it. I like it. A little sports soundtracks and audio from over the weekend. Let's start with a little Jerry. There was some negotiations, as we all know. JD wasn't surprised by him. He was the only one in the world that wasn't. But Jerry, I don't know. Jerry and JD, neither one were surprised. Here's what Jerry had to say over the weekend.
You yourself not talk to the agent?
Because the agent, when we have a problem within a team and a player, I don't ever find the agent. He's nowhere to be found. Okay? Jay-Z said that Micah would make not Micah, but that Dez would make all meetings. Jay-Z and I negotiated the contract. We spent hours negotiating the contract, Jay-Z. And he said, anybody in my organization is on time. He said, my office used to be on the street corner, and I've always been early. So they will be on time. I said, where did I sign? But I'm going to call you. Finally, he quit taking my call.
Well, Dez and Mike have different histories as far as...
Again, please, I'm just talking about the agent. Don't take that to Micah and Dez. Just simply say that when the issues come up, the first one and the one that is there is us and the player. My experience, hadn't been the agent, is not the one that solves the problems you have when you're executing what you said you would do in the contract. So I like to deal directly with the player when it's of this nature.
So that's Jerry. And you know what? It's so easy to make fun of that guy.
It's almost as if being a difficult owner breeds difficult players on your roster.
Yeah, and difficult questions, right? Like maybe that's just part of it. But he's talking about Dez there and some contract negotiations with him several years ago now. I don't know, man. I'm not one of those that think everything's Jerry's fault, but I don't think this is a win-win for anybody. I really don't. Here's what the head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, had to say Saturday.
Do you feel caught in the middle in this situation between Mike and management?
No, because I'm in communication with everybody. I mean, I'm talking to the players all the time. I'm talking to ownership all the time. Steven and Jerry and I talk all the time. You know, we're not the only team in the league that's going through this. You know, I mean, it's what happens in big business and with elite players. And but no, I think I'm certainly someone that has the ability to have, conversations and taking a lot of information. And I'm able to look at things from all sides and then communicate directly with the people that it affects.
So, Diesel, first-year head coach Brian Schottenheimer having to deal with this.
That is elite level playing both sides.
Yeah, it is.
That is elite. I don't have anything to do with it, guys. I'm just waiting until kickoff day, and whoever is suited up on my team is suited up on my team.
Yeah.
And that's how we're going to deal with it. Don't come to me. Don't keep me involved. He's Peter, you're Paul, and that bleeps between y'all.
Yeah. You know what? I will say this. You remember, Diesel, and I'm sure the Tolos do as well, when Brian Schottenheimer was hired, I was not happy, right? I was so unenthused by the hire. I will say, from what I've heard and seen, maybe I was a little too hard on the guy. Sean McVay, when he was hired, people didn't know who Sean McVay was. I'm not saying Brian Schottenheimer is going to be Sean McVay. I'm just saying maybe I should have given the guy a chance. Maybe I was in the wrong by being too – maybe everybody was in the wrong. All the Cowboys fans were being a little too harsh on him. I've liked what I've heard. But again, how's that translate on the field on Sundays, right?
How fast will that change if they start losing games?
Oh, God! September the 4th. 1 month from today, I'll be ready for that. That guy sucks.
I was kind of too harsh on this game. Lose one game, get him
out. That guy
he should
sucks.
Be fired.
Why? That guy. What is he even doing here? 2 more pieces of audio, Diesel, before we run back to a break in a few minutes. This was from South Carolina over the weekend. Mike Shula, we all know, the new offensive coordinator for the Gamecocks, was asked about the comparisons between Lenore Sellers and Cam Newton. Here's that audio.
Yeah, I mean, people have asked me that. It's hard to compare such a young guy with a guy that, that played several years, coached several years with him in the NFL. But he's very talented. He's a dual threat, as a lot of people like to say. But he's still, Lenoris is just still so young, and there's still so much out there that he has to learn, that we've got to learn, and hopefully learn through positive experiences. So it's hard for me to kind of make that comparison, but I will say this, they've both been very enjoyable to coach.
Something interesting about that. We made a lot, Diesel, about Mike Shula not being really impressive in that bowl game, right? His first game ever. I think maybe sometimes, again, kind of with Brian Schottenheimer, going back to that, maybe we haven't talked enough about what Mike Shula, with his experience in the NFL, could do for a guy like Lenoir Sellers. Maybe we hadn't talked enough about that.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to figure out. We try to figure out what percentage of credit / blame you give to Tom Brady versus Bill Belichick. Yeah. And there are a lot of Gamecock fans who were trying to figure out, well, how do you attribute the success? Was it Lenoir Sellers or was it Dowell Loggins? And the ones who didn't like Dowell Loggins will say it was all Lenoir Sellers. And the ones who kind of could see that by the end of the season, what Dowell was doing as a head coach was pretty good. And they may say it was a little bit 50-50. And now you're like, well, I don't know. what Schuler's going to do. Yeah. It's impossible to know.
It is. It's interesting. It would just be, wouldn't it be a cool story, though, from Mike Shula's point of view, if Diesel, him coaching in the NFL with Cam Newton, and what Cam was able to, we all know how good Cam was. Wouldn't it be cool, though, if they were able to Mike Shula and Lenoir Sellers were able to make some kind of, historic playoff run, and all of a sudden, then we're talking about Mike Shula. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, maybe this guy's a lot better than we thought he was. I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to turn Lenoir into Cam Newton, but I think we might be underestimating Mike a little bit. Last piece of audio is a little positive piece of audio. I want to know, and Cam Ward caught a lot of grief in college. But I want to know why we can't all have this mindset, going back to contracts and how people in the NFL handle their business, Diesel. You wait till you hear this. You've been hard on Cam Ward. I have. Everybody has. But, man, this is you like hearing NFL players with this kind of perspective.
I've grown up, watched my dad wake up at 4:30 doing a job he didn't like. So, if I can't wake up early and do what I need to do for a job I do like, I shouldn't be playing football. And that goes for everybody in the locker room. If you can't have the expectation for yourself that you want to be whether a good or a great player and want to put the work in, I just think that's how it should go. I just think good things only come to those who work.
I like it. I like the mindset. I like the positivity. It seems like Cam Ward's bought in, right? It seems like he's ready to outwork. I don't know if he'll pen out or not, but I do like the positivity.
You and I were both pretty rough on him for leaving the bowl game early.
Yeah.
And you should be. You should be rough on a guy like that for leaving his team in a lurch. But that doesn't mean that he can't grow up. That doesn't mean that he can't see the error in that decision. Yeah. And decide, you know what, I'm not going to be that guy anymore. I'm not going to treat my new team the way I treated my old team. So good on him for understanding that work ethic has to be strong, week in, week out, day in, day out.
Diesel, I did miss one text I wanted to read. It was funny. On the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line, Just Jess says, my overreaction is please spay and neuter your pets.
Right,
does that
Bob
tie
Barker.
into the restaurant? I don't know if it ties in or not. Good text, though.
She's not wrong.
Yeah.
Bob Barker only spent 40 years telling us that at the end of every single show, and it's like somehow we forgot. When we come back, Cole, let's whip around the sports world, see what else is going on out there in our rapid fire segment we call Daily Wires. You ever just think that maybe there's more out there? Well, there is. And we get to it every single day in this whip around segment called our Daily Wires. The buzz happening around the sports world. The Hub City Spartanburgers are winners, 4 of 6 against the Asheville Tourists last week. Suck it, Asheville. The Spartanburgers are off today before they start a 6-game series tomorrow at Jersey Shore.
Next.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Come on, Cole.
No.
Say it out. What did I say? I said suck it, Asheville.
Next Daily Wire.
We're going to have to talk about this off the air. Spartanburgers are on the road the next 2 series and will begin a 6-game home slate against the Greenville Drive starting August 19th. We had big news earlier in the show today, Cole. In case you missed it, you are being demoted, fired, removed from office. You are no longer commissioner for the 2025 Wire to Wire Fantasy Football League, and Tolos can nominate themselves to be the next commish.
Yeah, we'll keep talking about it throughout the week. Like, who was it? Lefty Tiger didn't hear about it. Just got off work at 5. So I'm done. No more commish for me. One of you can be the commish, and we need to continue the nominations throughout the week.
He's impeaching himself.
Yes.
Are you ready for our predictions? Next week, we will give our official predictions for the Clemson and South Carolina schedules, as well as the Carolina Panthers.
Woo.
In which case, you can print it out, stick it on your wall.
Let's do it.
Obsess over it every single day.
Let's stick
and then
them right there.
At the end of the season, tell us how wrong we were.
We're not going to go wrong. We're not going to be wrong, though. We'll print them out, put them right
12
there.
for 12?
I think we can.
All right.
We can.
Yesterday in the MLB Speed Classic, the Atlanta Braves beat the Reds 4-2 in a thriller of a baseball game. The Braves, 15 and a half games back from first place, 47-63.
Thriller. Thanks, Braves.
The Phillies are leading the division, by the way, and they keep flip-flopping the lead with the Mets.
Yeah. One of those two, I mean, I think both teams will be tough to beat in the playoffs. I really do.
Atlanta will be back on the field tonight against Milwaukee, weather permitting, obviously. 7:15 first pitch, Eric Fetty on the mound for the Braves.
Yeah, I don't know if the weather's as nasty down there as it is here, but, man, just that weather this whole week.
The NFLPA late Sunday night elected David White as its interim executive director 17 days after Lloyd Howell Jr. resigned the post. White is the CEO of 3CG Ventures, an executive coaching and strategic firm, and he is the former board chair of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco.
So what you're saying is he's rich.
He's a big deal.
Okay.
He has many fine leather-bound books. He also has extensive labor experience, having served as the leader of SAG-AFTRA union with 160,000 members who work in the entertainment industry. He was in that role from 2009 through 2021. Basically, every single actor and a lot of the employees, like the staff around TV and movie production, they are all SAG-AFTRA.
It's big time.
Cam Young finally got his first PGA Tour victory yesterday after 7 runner-up finishes. He made it look easy, had 5 straight birdies to build a 9-shot lead and coasted home to a 268 win at the Wyndham Championship. He won by 6 shots in Greensboro over the weekend.
You know, I don't want to say it feels like it's easier to win in weekends like this because it's still the best golfers in the world, but what's the guy that has all of the runner-ups that we talked about that's never gonna cash in?
Oh God, it wasn't Ricky,
about.
was it?
No, just a couple of weeks ago. He needs to play in more of these because I mean, you can win these things, man. I mean, Cam Young hadn't been relevant in a while, and hey, winning this weekend.
Former UT football head coach Derek Dooley today announced his 2026 Republican bid for the U.S. Senate seat in Georgia against Democrat incumbent John Ossoff.
Is Nick Saban next?
Well, I noticed he's running in Georgia, not in the state of Tennessee, where they don't have any love for him whatsoever. William Byron won the Iowa Corn 350 yesterday. That's his second win of the season. He also won the Daytona 500.
Yeah, twice this year, and he had a little bit of a drought, but the crazy thing is, Diesel, he's favored in just about every single race. He's top 3 in odds to win. He finally broke through this weekend.
High school football fans, make sure you go back and find all of the interviews from Thursday and Friday's show, both with Greenville and Spartanburg head coaches. They're all available on the Odyssey app. The 2025 debut of the Saturday Morning Scramble is next Saturday, August 16th.
This is my last free Saturday until December the 8th. Oh, boy.
Hey, you're doing it to yourself, Cole.
Oh,
you work
boy.
too much.
Jeez, no deer hunting on Saturdays. Man, what has my life gotten to?
Texas A&M just got themselves a really good quarterback with a commitment from four-star recruit Jace Johnson, ESPN's number 3 quarterback prospect for the 2027 class. LSU also got better when it added 2026 defensive line pledge number 2, DT Deuce Gerald's, ranked number 40 in the 2026 ESPN 300. That's big.
It is. It is.
Let's see here. Florida quarterback DJ Lagway practiced on Saturday. Good for him. He is back out there doing his thing.
And Diesel, if we can,
very quickly,
let's see if we can sneak TA in here. TA from Gaffney. What's up, TA?
What's up, pimps and players? Listen, y'all, when you talk golf, man, you got to bring it. You got to know exactly what you're talking about.
Tell me.
Cam Young has 7 PGA runner-ups, and he got his first W yesterday at the Wyndham. You might be talking about Tommy Fleetwood.
No. Listen to me. Listen, we knew that. What I was asking Diesel is I was asking him who's the golfer who has all of the runner-ups, and to your point, it is Tommy Fleetwood.
It's Tommy. We just didn't pull that
we
name
couldn't
out
think
of the
of Tommy's name.
But you said Cam hadn't been hot in a while, but he's got 7 runner-up finishes.
Yeah,
so
second place is the first loser.
Well, yeah, and it's the second biggest check in the field also.
Well, Cam Young, I hadn't seen his name on the leaderboard at the top of the leaderboard, and I don't know. Maybe I just don't follow it enough.
Hey, TA, while you're driving around up there in Gaffney, would you mind pulling over and asking those road crews what the hell they're doing out there? Why is I-85 in Gaffney taking so long?
Man, I'm dodging tires in the road. I mean, these orange and white cones. I mean, dude, you ain't lying. I'm putting my life in jeopardy calling in and talking to you guys.
You are.
Thanks, TA.
Hey, by the way, TA.
Oh, he's gone.
TA, Cam's last victory was 2021. I mean,
his last second place?
No, that was his first ever, right? That was he won on the Corn Ferry in 2021. So. I mean, yeah, second place is nice and all, but what does second place do for you? I don't know. I don't look at him as one of the. Maybe I'm just not giving him enough credit. Thanks for the call, TA. Always appreciate you, Diesel. Let's dive right back in. Atlanta Braves, they had an opportunity, them and the Reds, to really show off over the weekend. Did they show off? We'll talk about it. Dive back into it next.